Welcome to Dark Historia. Tonight, we unravel one of the most scandalous mysteries of European history. The story of Mary, Queen of Scots, and the infamous Casket Letters. They were letters so salacious, so damning, that they shattered Mary's reputation, forced her from her throne, and paved the way to her bloody execution. But here's the chilling question. Were these letters truly written by Mary herself? Or were they forgeries, carefully crafted by her enemies to destroy her forever? This is not just a tale of romance and betrayal. It is the story of a queen trapped in a web of lust, murder, and political intrigue. A story where even words ink on paper became weapons sharper than any blade. Stay with us, and don't forget to subscribe, because what you're about to hear is a saga of desire, conspiracy, and royal downfall, unlike anything you've ever imagined. Mary Stuart had been crowned Queen of Scots when she was just 6 days old. But from the moment she wore the crown, her throne was never secure. Enemies circled her like vultures, waiting for the perfect chance to strike. That chance came in 1567, with the shocking death of her second husband, Henry Stuart, better known as Lord Darnley. Darnley had been recovering from smallpox, weakened but alive. Then, in the dead of night, the house where he stayed was rocked by a massive explosion. Barrels of gunpowder, carefully hidden beneath his chamber, were ignited. But here is where the horror deepens. The explosion did not kill him. Darnley's body was later discovered in a garden strangled to death. The whispers began instantly. Who wanted him dead? The arrogant, power-hungry husband who had tried to dominate the queen. The same man who had once conspired against her, and even took part in the brutal murder of her secretary, David Rizzio. All eyes turned to Mary. Did she know? Did she allow it to happen? Or did she herself conspire in the murder of her own husband? Her cousin, Elizabeth I of England, sent her a letter. It was sympathetic, yet laced with warning. I will not dissemble what most people are whispering, Elizabeth wrote, that you look through your fingers at the revenging of this deed. By failing to avenge Darnley's death, Mary fed the rumors with her silence. And soon, that silence would become a noose tightening around her neck. If Lord Darnley's death had cast suspicion on Mary, her next decision sealed her downfall. Only weeks after her husband's murder, Mary remarried, and not just to anyone, but to James Hepburn, the 4th Earl of Bothwell. The rumors spread like wildfire. Some claimed Bothwell had abducted the queen. Others whispered he had raped her, forcing the marriage. But whether she married him willingly or not, the damage was done. To the Scottish lords, this was proof. Bothwell was already seen as Darnley's murderer, and Mary, now his wife, appeared not as a grieving widow, but as a traitorous lover complicit in her husband's death. The nobles rose in fury. Armies gathered. And soon, the Queen of Scots found herself abandoned, betrayed, and surrounded. Under immense pressure, Mary was forced to abdicate her throne in favor of her infant son. James, a 1-year-old child, would now wear the crown, while his mother, once the most powerful woman in Scotland, became a prisoner of her own people. What had begun as whispers of scandal was now a roar of outrage, and Mary's choices had turned her throne into quicksand, swallowing her power whole. Defeated and dethroned, Mary fled to England. She believed her cousin, Elizabeth I, would protect her. Instead, she found herself in a gilded prison. But Elizabeth needed proof that Mary had conspired to murder her husband and betray Scotland. And then the casket appeared, a small silver chest. Inside it, the so-called Casket Letters. 8 letters, 2 marriage contracts, and 12 sonnets documents that dripped with scandal. In these writings, Mary seemed to confess her love for Bothwell. The sonnets spoke of passion and devotion. The contracts suggested she had promised to marry him even before Darnley's death. And the letters? They implied conspiracy plots to kill her husband and stage her own abduction. To Mary's enemies, This was the ultimate weapon. Written words transformed into chains. But there was a problem. The letters were suspicious. No dates, no signatures. Their source? James Stuart, Earl of Moray Mary's half-brother and lifelong rival. Were these Mary's true words? Or carefully forged lies meant to destroy her forever? For Elizabeth's counsel, the authenticity hardly mattered. The scandal was too delicious, too powerful to ignore. The letters painted Mary not as a queen, but as an adulteress, a conspirator, a murderess. And with that, her fate was sealed in ink. Mary Stuart never stood trial. She refused to acknowledge that any English council had authority over her. She was, in her eyes, still Queen of Scots, but the damage was already done. The Casket Letters had been shown to Elizabeth's advisors. Whispers of adultery, of murder, of betrayal spread like wildfire through Europe. And though Elizabeth herself refused to declare Mary guilty, the stain on her reputation was irreversible. Imprisoned in England, Mary spent nearly 19 years locked away, not in dungeons, but in cold, echoing castles. A queen in name, a prisoner in truth. During those long years, conspiracies brewed around her. Catholic allies plotted to free her, to place her on the English throne. Letters smuggled in and out of her chambers revealed secret alliances and coded schemes. Each plan failed, each betrayal cutting deeper, and in 1586 came the final blow. The Babington Plot, a conspiracy to assassinate Elizabeth and crown Mary as Queen of England. This time, there was no escape. Elizabeth's spies intercepted the letters, and Mary was found guilty of treason. On February 8, 1587, Mary was led to the executioner's block. She wore crimson, the color of martyrdom. Before the blade fell, she cried out, "Into thy hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit." The axe struck. The tragic queen's life ended. Her supposed letters, the infamous casket papers, had long since vanished. Were they truth or treachery? History will never know. But one fact is certain. Whether real or forged, words had destroyed a queen. Thus ends the dark tale of Mary, Queen of Scots, a queen crowned in infancy, betrayed in adulthood, and executed in disgrace. Her life was marked not only by crowns and courts, but by suspicion, scandal, and blood. And at the center of her downfall were words. Letters, whether real or forged, that outlived her body and shaped her legacy. It reminds us of a chilling truth. Power is fragile. Reputation even more so. And sometimes, the pen truly is deadlier than the sword. Thank you for walking with me through this shadowed history. If you found this story as haunting as I did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another tale of darkness, betrayal, and forgotten truths. This was Dark Historia. Until next time, remember, history is never as clean as it seems.